Welcome back, Georgina. January is Alzheimer's Awareness Month. And for those of you who are living with someone with Alzheimer's, you are not alone. And to talk about that and all kinds of other topics, we welcome Angela Owen Johnston. You are a social worker with the Alzheimer's Society of York Region, and we're also joined by Lorraine Hackenbrook, who is a caregiver. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Angela. I just want to start with you, if I may. I know we are 3/4 of the way into January, but we are having a conversation that needs to keep happening. So bearing in mind that we are 3 weeks into it, what would you say is the key piece to ensure that this conversation keeps going?
Oh, thank you. So I think the main thing is we need to continue to raise awareness about dementia, the different types of dementia, and how they impact on individuals, because there really are so many different ways. And the other thing too is we need to raise awareness of the supports out there for our caregivers who are managing this task, sometimes, on their own, because they're not sure about who to turn to for supports. So we are very busy this month doing both of those things. We've got a number of different education available to our caregivers. We have speakers come to give our caregivers information, valuable advice that can help with the day-to-day challenges. We support our caregivers right now during this time of COVID with a virtual day program. So these are activities and ideas for ways to stay busy at home and ways to help with isolation. We have a lot of support groups going on right now, and we're happy this week to have a book launch, which is a lot of our different caregivers in York Region who are sharing their personal stories with us and putting those together, and we're hoping that people will pick that up and glean some tips and some tricks that can really help. And this week too, we're hosting Teepa Snow, which is a caregivers event. And if you've ever seen Teepa Snow, she's just a fantastic speaker, and we're all really looking forward to that. So yes, January is Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and we're busy here spreading the word on all things related to dementia and letting people know that they're not alone.
Yeah, absolutely
Lorraine,
amazing.
It's so great as well to have you on the show. And Lorraine, what is your experience at the moment? You are a caregiver to your husband, correct? What does that look like to you?
At this present time, Ken was diagnosed 4 years ago, and we're very fortunate that he has a slow onset of the disease. So we are taking it in our stride. I've learned a lot of patience, and that's key, I think, for anyone dealing with anything like this. Patience is the key. You need to be aware that it's still the same person that you loved and cared for and still do. His attitude may change a little bit because he's got to be one of the sweetest men I've ever met in my life. And sometimes he isn't always, but you got to take that into consideration. So,
And Lorraine, I love that because I've heard so many times we need to be aware of the fact that it is the behavior, it's not the individual. So I love the fact that you've reinforced that. And patience, well, I'm a 65-year-old man, so I don't know how well I'm doing with that. But can I also ask you, Lorraine, I mean, we are so grateful to hear it's slow. So would you agree with Angela that education is really key to understanding how to move forward?
Yes, I believe so, because as I said, not everyone's is the same. Not everyone moves in the same speed or has exactly the same symptoms. And so I think it's very good if you can find out exactly what your partner's symptoms are and
Yes.
go through it that way.
Super.
Well, I was reading in the paper locally, there was a little article about the book launch and about the fact that there are stories in the book, which is a really great thing. Now, Lorraine, I'm sure you probably feel that as well. You know you're not alone because there are other people who've walked in your footsteps or who are walking in your footsteps. And I'm assuming that's a huge part of it as well, right? Reaching out and finding support.
Yes, I think so. And as I read the other people's stories, I find out mine is a piece of cake. So it's not so bad after all, right? So there are all levels of Alzheimer's, and we have to be aware of it and treat each one individually for sure.
You know, it's, I love that yours is a piece of cake, you know, I mean, how mature of us to say there's always someone who's got it worse than we do. So, you know, in spite of that, this is a journey you didn't anticipate. What are you doing to make sure that you're looking after you? Because you now are the most important person in not only your husband's life, but your own.
Yes. I have a wonderful family, first of all. So we have 4 children, and they're absolutely super help. They're learning a lot about how to treat their dad and how to accept all his rambling stories over and over again. That comes with it, right? When they first found out, they were a little bit upset because dad didn't remember certain people, and that bothered them. But now they realize that happens, right? But for myself, I read, I knit, I was active in the church till we can't go there anymore, but
Yes.
and I belong to a UCW group, which the ladies still all get together. So I do have I have a streaming of friends and people that I can talk with and know my situation. I don't hide it. I certainly let people know that this is what's happening, and they all understand. So yeah, I think I'm taken care of at this moment anyway.
Right.
I love that.
Okay.
And I would assume that reaching out for help too is a huge thing for you and for others. It's got to be hard.
It is very hard. I'm very independent. I'm very private. I like to keep everything pretty personal. So for me, it was a big thing to reach out and say, hey, do you know what? Ken has this. I need this. It is. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest pieces, one of the, excuse me, the lessons we all need to learn, and we spoke of this earlier in the show, is learning how to receive. And that is tough. That is tough.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you've taken care of so many people for so long, and suddenly, you know, you've got to take care of yourself too. And that has to be added to the equation, right? And sometimes we all need help.
It's true.
Very definitely.
Be included.
No kidding.
Yes.
So, Angela, I have a question for you. If people are looking for support, or maybe they have experienced some of the warning signs in themselves or their partner, what do they do, and how do they get a hold of you?
Good question. So we have a first link referral service that physicians are using to make referrals, but you don't have to go through your physician. If you suspect that you may be looking at a dementia and you want to find out more, you can give us a call. You can email us. You can get in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We're active in all those social media sites.
Thank you. I hate to cut you off, but we're out of time. Thank you both so much for being on the show, for all the information. And Georgina, don't go away. We have lots more coming up.